Hi, I'm Eve Fisher, and I'm a real estate agent in San Francisco. Thanks so much for visiting my channel and checking out this video. Today we're going to talk about what makes San Francisco special. I'm not talking about naked bicycle races or the crazy summer weather, but rather the things that make our San Francisco real estate market special. You know that we have to have our own quirks and fun differences since we're San Francisco. The first thing I wanted to discuss were TICs, tenancies in common. A lot of times my clients will call me and they'll say, I found this amazing place, great finishes, excellent price, but it says it's a TIC. What's that? Well, a TIC is a tenancy in common, a TIC, and it's a different ownership structure than a condominium. So instead of owning your unit, let's say unit A, you own, say, 20% of 123 Main Street. Now, in terms of exclusive use of your unit, which is important, you don't want your neighbor moving in, that exclusive use is enshrined in the tenancy in common agreement, which needs to be drafted by a lawyer. The tenancy in common agreement stipulates your exclusive use and has a lot of the details that a similar bylaw and HOA rules document would have. Now, what makes TICs different in terms of ownership, besides the owning a percentage of a unit, is that you pay property tax with your other owners in one whole bill. So if one of your co-owners can't pay for property taxes, doesn't have the money, it doesn't really matter in terms of the city still wants its whole property tax paid. So that's something that has to be addressed and is often addressed in the TIC agreement, how it will be dealt with. The other thing is that there are certain different loan products to make an offer and get a loan on a TIC. When TICs were first created, there were only joint loans, so you'd actually go on the mortgage with your co-owners. Now there's something called fractional financing, but only a few banks in the Bay Area offer it. And until about 3 or 4 months ago, I would have said that you could only get an adjustable rate mortgage, but they've just now come out with fixed products, meaning your interest rate is fixed for a period of 15 or 30 years. Interest rates do tend to be a little bit higher on tenancy in common, but they can be a really good opportunity for you to get in the market and get a property that you might not otherwise be able to afford. Checking my notes to make sure that I got everything. Some people ask if TICs can be converted to condos. That is a great question for a lawyer. It really depends on the history of the TIC, if there have been any tenant buyouts. It depends on the size of the TIC building. There's a lot of factors. So that's something to address with your real estate agent or a licensed California attorney. The next thing that makes San Francisco special is that there are actually very few opportunities for great deals. It happens, don't get me wrong. But in terms of finding something in an area not as popular, while San Francisco is a small city, a lot of those places have already been found, or finding a fixer-upper. And for fixer-uppers, there is quite a lot of competition. The other issue is that many fixer-uppers cannot be lendable, are not lendable, meaning that you need to pay cash for a property, which is easier if the property's for $200,000, but when a property sells for $1 million or $2 million, that's a fixer-upper, a little harder to get that kind of cash together. There are lots of companies and individuals who do flipping professionally in San Francisco, so it can be a very difficult market to try to get a deal and to improve something or flip it for the individual buyer. On the same sort of scope, there are also not a lot of for sale by owners, foreclosures, short sales. I know some of my colleagues that have been around for a while would tell you that there were in 2008, but as of now, that's a very, very uncommon property type to find. There are some auctions, those are through the city, but those are cash only as well. Now, the other thing is that there are some properties that never hit the MLS, the multiple listing service. I won't say that those can be deals, but they can be opportunities to see a property that wouldn't normally be on the market, or to see a property before it comes on the market. Those properties are usually accessible through your agent. And it can help for your agent to be at a well-known brokerage, because based on a new thing called Clear Cooperation, we are able to share coming soon listings and off-market listings with our brokerage only. Or we have to put on the MLS as coming soon. So it can be very helpful to have an agent from a reputable brokerage that can point you in the direction of some of these off-market or coming soon listings. Now, the other thing is, it's pretty standard for human nature, so I hesitate to bring it up as a San Francisco quirk, but agents here do like to work with local agents. They figure that they know the market better, that they understand some of the challenges that might come up, and they understand the pricing structure. So it's great to have a local agent when you're bidding on a property in San Francisco. The same goes for a lender. That doesn't mean you need to find a bank that is based in San Francisco, but rather that a loan officer who has experience with the San Francisco market is crucial. For example, we have brick foundations in San Francisco, and many lenders will not lend on a brick foundation. Many San Francisco lenders are completely up to date on this issue and will still lend on a brick foundation. So that's just one example of why a local lender is beneficial. Also, our escrows are usually 25 to 30 days. That's the time between your offer being accepted and you closing on the property and owning the property. I had clients who were working with actually a Google approved lender out of New York. And when I called New York, the lender, they said, hey, great news, we can tighten up the escrow and we can get it done in 60 days. Well, in San Francisco, 60 days is an absolute eternity and would not make for a competitive offer. So we managed to bring them down, if I remember, to 40 days. But it still is really great to have an a loan officer who knows what it takes in San Francisco to get your loan accepted. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up are tenant protections. I don't want to speak too in depth about this because I'm not a landlord tenant attorney in the state of California, but I do want to comment that if it is tenant occupied the property, there are very stringent tenant protection laws, and you should assume that you will not be easily able to move in. You should assume that if you are able to evict the tenant, which has its own group of concerns, that it will be potentially a long and expensive process. That is why most of my clients opt to look at vacant properties and not deal with the tenant issue. I think that's about it for what is quirky about San Francisco. I'm sure I will think of something additional, and I will add that to the video next time. Thank you so much for watching. Please reach out if you have any questions. You can reach me at eve.fisher@compass.com, or you can text me at 415-535-0019. My license is California license 020-53368, and I hope that this was helpful for you. Have a great day.